See? Okay.
Alright, so I'm looking at my phone. Basically, I have my notes set up here, which is just a
Okay.
list of questions. So, to start out, can you walk me through where you've worked in your life and how things unfolded to get you where you did?
Where I worked.
Yeah, like where have you worked across your life? Can you give me a timeline?
Can I go to school?
Yeah.
Well, I graduated from St. Joseph's Academy in 1958. It was a great school. I was an altar boy. I was in the choir. It was just a wonderful time in my life.
That's perfect. And how did that lead into your career?
After I graduated from high school in 58, we graduated, I needed to know, I knew I had to have a job. So I went downtown to 11 North Pearl Street of Home City Savings Bank for an interview with John Roman, who was the president of the bank at that time. And I explained to him what I did in school and the classes I took. And he said, can you be here July? I think it was like July the 6th or 7th. I said, sure, I'll be there. So that was my whole starting of my career in the bank there.
Yeah.
I was a teller when I first started out, and then became supervisor of that department. Over the period of years, I opened a branch. They asked me to open up the branch on Wolf Road, which I did. And I also opened the branch here in Gilderland as well, of Home City Savings Bank. I just had a wonderful banking career of 37 years. I did get to be treasurer of the bank, and eventually I get to be vice president of the bank, which my mother was very, very happy about. She kind of cried. After that, that was my career as far as the banking goes.
So let me dive more into your career as a firefighter. How did you start off with the fire department?
I started in the fire department in 1960. I met Al Miller up on Edgewood Street, where the father-in-law used to live, and mother-in-law. And he said, would you like to be a fireman? I said, love that. Because when I was going to school, there was always a firehouse up on the corner that I was always going up and visiting, listening to stories that they had. So, but that's how I got started here as a fireman. And it's been a great life for me here. I enjoyed every minute of it. I just wish that more young people of today would think about volunteering their services, because it's just a wonderful thing that as you get older, you say, God, I'm glad I did that.
Is there any fire that you've handled across your years that stands out to you? Like any specific fire you dealt with that you could remember as something specific, so to speak?
Well, there was the Delzados up on Willow Street, way up by the pine bush up in that area. And that was one heck of a fire. But the thing that bothered me the most was that there was I think it was like a 52 Corvette, and it was just burnt down to the ground. That's the reason why I love cars today, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
But that was one fire that was a bad fire.
How much do you think that Corvette costs?
At that time,
Yeah.
oh, it probably was $3,000.
What's your favorite part about like fire trucks? It's like you've driven them before, right?
I have.
So like what just a random question. What do you enjoy most about fire trucks in general? I know it's like a weird one.
It's getting to a fire where somebody is in deep need of help, and it's much better to. It's a good feeling to help people.
Yeah.
The thing that used to bother me the most when we did get to a fire, and it was a real fire, was that the people that were burnt out were looking for their albums. And usually they were burnt up. But lots of times, that's what we usually went after the fire's all over. We try to go in and find those albums so that they have a history of the kids growing up and things like that.
Yeah.
That really makes me feel good about it.
How long were you a treasurer for? You were also a treasurer.
I was a treasurer. As a matter of fact, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I've been a fireman for 65 years.
Yeah.
Fire department, I was here for 30 years as the treasurer. I was commissioner for 25 years. I was the secretary treasurer of the fire district for at least 35 years. So I enjoyed that a lot.
So between all those,
It just was part of my banking career as far as they figured, well, this guy's a banker. He ought to be able to do the treasurer's reports and things.
is there any last words you want to give?
Volunteer your service, guys.
That's great. All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yep, that's about it. So basically, I take the footage from